Good morning and welcome to another fine edition of the Insight Show on this Reno Media Group radio station. I'm Deanna, and today I have with me three very special people. I have Melissa Taylor from Reno Little Theater, Mary Bennett from Peruca Theatre, and Joe Atack from Good Luck Macbeth. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all so much for being here. We are socially distant. We are all kind of congregating on a phone line, and I really appreciate you guys accommodating so that we can talk about what we're going to talk about today and help get the word out to the community on all the wonderful things that you guys are doing. So, Melissa, I want to chat with you real quick. Let's give everybody a rundown for anyone listening who is not familiar with these wonderful organizations like they should be. Tell us a little bit about Reno Little Theater in a nutshell.
Thanks, Deanna. So Reno Little Theater is in its 85th season. We were founded in 1935, and we're Nevada's longest-running community theater, which is pretty cool, quite a long legacy. We do main stage performances of big productions that run, 3-4 weeks at a time. But we also have an education program where we do camps and classes with local children. We also have a partnership with Latino Arte where we do Spanish language performances and events, and a relationship with Ageless Repertory Theater. We have Senior Readers Theater Group at our space. Basically, we have a lot of cool partnerships, so there's kind of something going on every weekend. So you can imagine that this is a crazy time for us, suddenly not having anyone at our space.
Yeah, I imagine it's a little bit of a shift. It's kind of difficult to get used to, huh?
Sure is, but we're doing our best to deal with the situation, and looking to new and innovative ways to continue to reach our audiences, because we're planning on being here for another 85 years.
That's awesome. So let's move on to Joe. Joe, give us an intro on Good Luck Macbeth and tell us a little bit about you guys.
Would be happy to. So Good Luck Macbeth is in its 12th season right now, and we are located in Midtown on West Taylor Street. We do also main stage productions, and we have some education programming, and we also are the home to the Reno Jazz Orchestra, who perform several shows in our space through the course of the year and also rehearse in our space. And we are also home to Artemisia Movie House, which shows really cool, mostly old and independent movies on Sunday evenings. And we also have a couple of other partnerships. We have a series called FOMO, which is all non-main stage events like improv. We did a Game of Thrones remake. Fun stuff that is really easy to come in and see for just one weekend. That's all sort of irreverent and fun.
Very cool.
So we have lots of stuff going on. Yeah.
Awesome. And you guys are all kind of in this same boat here. You're also experiencing the challenges of having your doors closed right now and not being able to provide the entertainment to the public that you're used to.
Yeah, that's correct. We all closed down on the same weekend, and we were all in sort of different states. So we had a show that was about to run its third weekend, and I know Reno Little Theater was just about to open a show, and Peruca was a week or two away. I'm sure Mary will speak a little bit about that. But it's a very unusual space we find ourselves in. We're sort of, in many ways, hubs for lots of different communities that come together to work and create in our spaces. And now we're the same thing, but at a social distance.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mary, tell us a little bit about Peruca Theatre and about the background of your organization and kind of how you guys are dealing with this right now.
Thank you, Deanna. So Peruca Theatre is celebrating our 27th season, and each year we try to pick a theme that goes along with our season that we are running. And this year's theme is called The Bridge, because we are really wanting to connect with other businesses and nonprofits throughout the community that we can also highlight as a theater company. For example, the Eddie House was our partner in Georgia McBride that opened our season. And we continue to look for that and hope that we can continue to create those partnerships as we go down the road, trying to figure out how we'll keep this season intact, even if it includes going into possibly next season in the summer. I think all three of us are trying to communicate with each other as theater companies about where we're at in the moment and where we feel like our shows can go, even though we really don't know. It's such a crazy time. And Peruca has been a home for a long time for different artists in the community to be able to come in and work together and collaborate, and including some other businesses that'll come in and use the space as well, whether it's downtown businesses or Burning Man using the space for training. We have a main stage and we have a sub-Peruca space. And on the main stage, we have 6 to 7 main stage shows each season. We do have season tickets. All of our theater companies have season ticket packages that I think are well responded to by the community, which is nice because it gives us a base every year. Peruca also hosts the Biggest Little Theater Festival, which is an opportunity for actors and writers in the community to come together and mount shows, having a theater company to be able to use as a base and be able to put a show up without having to pay the cost that it would entail to be able to put up a show in a regular run. And it's a really fun opportunity. We've got to see some great work come out of the community that way. We have a touring theater for children. So each year we partner with the Pioneer Youth roster, and we take our original theater for children into the schools, and we usually have about 25 tours that we go into schools, libraries, and communities and perform an original piece that I write them, and we try to integrate art into the schools and take themes that then the teachers can take back into the classrooms and talk about, having live entertainment experience for the kids. And this year, our show is Nevada 150-ish, because we're not 150 anymore, we're 150-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has been, that is stopped right now because we're not sure what's going to happen in the schools and what's going on. So that was a huge loss for us in terms of we do pay the artists to go into the schools and provide a job for them. And it helps Peruca quite a bit each year. And I think that's such a big one, too. I'm probably skipping ahead, but in terms of what we add to the economy as businesses is really pretty special. And we don't think about that a lot with the arts because sometimes the arts are sort of thought of as a hobby and something extra.
Right.
But I think they're really important, and there's an important element to what they add to our culture that if they are lost, what we miss. And so I think, we want to speak to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And because you guys are all kind of experiencing the same thing, it sounds like you are all so busy at any other given time, and now everything has kind of come to a halt. I want to talk a little bit about how you have all decided to come together and stay connected and make these decisions to continue to engage and entertain your community, even virtually. So, Melissa, can you tell us a little bit about how the birth of this all started?
Sure. Well, I think it started first with, I believe Mary was the first one to reach out when we were all kind of at that moment of going, it might be the right thing to do to close the theaters. This was before it was mandated to do so, just because we were all paying attention to what was going on and we were all aware of how it could impact our audiences and our artists if we did continue our programming. So I think Mary reached out first, and we all kind of got together in a room and talked about making the decision to close together. That was sort of one of the first moments I feel like we really decided to kind of attack this situation or support each other as a group. And then from there, it just kind of turned into weekly Zoom calls and, hey, how can we keep this rolling together? Because I think we're all really aware of the fact that we're not just these three individual organizations that stand alone. We are connected through artists that work at the different spaces, and I think each one of us just mentioned that we have partnerships with other nonprofit entities that call our spaces home. So, I just felt like it was really important for us to continue talking about this as a group and pooling our resources, because none of us have been through this before. And so we're all kind of going, hey, what do you think about this? How can we move forward? And, trying to use our resources as a group as best we can to honor our individual audiences, but also the community at large.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember you talking about this when this all first started and you guys first started to decide to meet together and on a regular basis and make sure that you stay connected and you're all delivering the same message. I love the idea of unity and how you guys are coming across to the not only the theater community and our local talent, but to the community as a whole. You're coming across as such a strong, united front, and I love that you guys are all working together on this. So tell us a little bit about how the different things that you guys have decided to do and how you're going to entertain the community even when you can't welcome people into your spaces.
Joe, why don't you take this one?
Yes.
Sure. As Melissa said, we sort of came together, and it's actually been, I think one of the great things about coming together is not just for us as individuals, but also for all of our staff and all of the artists working together. They feel, that we all are supporting each other, because as Melissa was saying, some of our actors are working in shows maybe at our theater now, but the next show they go to might be at RLT. So to feel that we're coordinating together, I think is important in that sense. And sort of moving out of that, we decided, well, how can we continue to be creative? How can we continue to collaborate? So from a Good Luck Macbeth point of view, our first thought was that we wanted to create a sort of online program that would replace whatever would normally be in our theater. Now, of course, we can't put up a full show online necessarily right now, but what we can do is provide stories. And so the first thing we decided to do is start online storytelling. So at 7 o'clock every evening, you can hear, or I should say 8 o'clock every evening, you can hear one of our company members reading children's stories, and then at 10 o'clock, I read Sherlock Holmes stories. And, that was just a very simple idea, but it sort of, as we came together as a group, we decided, well, how can we find projects to co-collaborate on, and what does that mean? And I think all three of us have found really interesting ways to keep connected to our communities as individual organizations, but also we're finding ways in which to work together. And I think coming up, I don't want to give too much of the game away right now, but shortly, we'll be announcing some really exciting programming together collaboratively, but also a platform on which we can, as individual organizations, stream content that everybody can find.
And I've got to say, I've seen some of the things that have been posted online already, and I'm loving the flood of entertainment that I'm getting on my social media news feeds, because it is a nice way to kind of escape from whatever it is that you're doing at the moment. If you're getting into a routine, or you're kind of feeling like down in the dumps, or if you're just spending a little too much time binging on television shows, it's really a nice way to be able to, flip to a different form of entertainment and see people in your community who are providing this wonderful, creative, just different little nuggets of entertainment that I like to call it, because it comes in like little waves, and I see it throughout my entire day, and it brightens your day and it puts a smile on your face, and it's really fun to see it happen.
Well, and I think the important element of that for us too was first of all, so that we don't all go stir crazy,
Yeah.
without a creative output. But I think more importantly than that is what we are as organizations is we're community theaters. And community is a really important part of that idea. And it's not just about putting on shows, but it's about what is it that we actually are doing this for? Why are we artists in the first place? Why do we want to create theater and connect with people through the medium of theater? And so if you can't have people sitting in, Peruca's Theatre downtown, our theatre in Midtown, or RLT's theatre in Midtown, how do we still provide something to the community that we feel is helpful, is a way to feel calm, to remain connected to each other, to hear different kinds of stories that can take you out of your, quarantined isolation, kitchen, living room, whatever it is, for just a brief moment, and remember that the world went on before this, and the world continues after it's all over, and things will eventually go back to normal. And I think part of what we're doing is reminding everyone what came before and what will come after all of this, and remain connected to each other through these stories and programs, and just being able to collaborate in any way possible, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And as they say in entertainment, the show must go on. And Mary, I saw online just a few nights ago that one of your casts was actually rehearsing virtually with each other for an upcoming show.
Yeah, so we have, and that's an interesting element. So we talk a lot about what we're still trying to do for our audiences to stay relevant and entertain, connect, and all of those wonderful things. But we've also really felt it was important to stay connected to our artists. And in the shows that we're all running, like RLT had opened, and I hope Melissa speaks to this, had just opened The Imaginary Invalid the night we decided to close. Well, they didn't open, but there was a magical thing that happened. And then they were in the run of their Noises Off at GLM in a great run. So the potential shows that were up were doing well. That's another really interesting thing about thinking about closing. And we were about to put Secret in the Wings up, which is a Mary Zimmerman play. And it's all about these 6 fairy tales that she collages together, these dark fairy tales. Really cool piece. So we've all gone online. And for us, I'm not super technically savvy and always feel a little bit behind the curve. And so this has been a really wonderful challenge to try to understand things like Zoom and Google Chat and how they can really simplify some of the things that we're trying to do at a theater. So we're rehearsing at least once a week and coming up with things like I've tried to transpose the fairy tales from the original fairy tales so that then we'll have the cast be reading those for audiences to, prepare them for the excitement of Secret in the Wings coming up. But it also makes me think about, in the past when we've had snow days or if there's illness or anything else that have stopped us from having a rehearsal or even having 2 rehearsals in a space at one time. All of our theaters usually have a show and rehearsal when we're putting another show up. That's a norm. The fact that we could be using these online platforms and really playing more in this world efficiently has been really fascinating. And I also think, and this might be because I just watched Como's talk this morning on television, but it continues to remind me, when we say we're going to go back to normal, normal's an interesting word. And I think that we're all evolving with this prospect of who we are and where we are. I hope that we are. And it's exciting in terms of being able to connect with these other theater companies has given me solace just as a person and as an artist to be able to talk to my peers and know that I'm not alone, even though, we all say we're not alone in this. It truly helps when you have that conversation and that face-to-face with people you trust and that are going through some of the same things economically, business-wise, artistically as you are.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're going to come out with a new normal, and I'm hopeful in that new normal, whatever it might be. We're not considered an essential nonprofit in terms of what we provide to the community. We're not, helping people, putting them in hospital beds and all of these things. And so for us to understand what our place is in the community and what other places can we help and assist and add, I think is really important and special, and that's part of the process of what we're doing right now together in getting to know each other in this new climate.
Yeah, absolutely. And you made a really good point, Mary. I know that it's been kind of, we see it everywhere where people are saying that we're in this together, but you are absolutely right in saying that this is an opportunity for us to all kind of grow and evolve from this. And you guys really all have proven that you're in this together because, as you mentioned in the opening of what you just finished telling us, there was something really special that happened the day you guys all decided to shut your doors to the public. And I believe, from what I understand, that this was Joe's idea.
Yeah, well, so RLT was meant to open a show on Friday the 13th of all days. And that was the same morning that we all sat together and made the collective decision to shut the theaters down. And it was a hard decision for all of us. I personally was struggling with knowing that I needed to go back to the theater and share that news with people who had literally gotten to opening night and spent 6 weeks working on a show, and the costumes were done and the set was done, and we had sold over 1,000 tickets already, and it was just such a heartbreaking call to have to make, but we knew it was the right one. And so I went back and just said, this is what's happening, and everybody understood, but of course everyone was really heartbroken, and it never even dawned on me to think about having a small private rehearsal because I was just stuck in that mode of, oh gosh, what's next? And we were talking still via email with Good Luck Macbeth and Peruca, and Joe mentioned so thoughtfully, hey, what do you think about having a performance for the cast, a private, small thing for the casts of Noises Off and Secret in the Wings? And I literally sobbed because I first off thought it was such an amazing show of support and so thoughtful for our cast and crew because they hadn't gotten that opportunity. And, I'm trying really hard to reschedule that show. I hope that it will happen. But as of right now, I don't know if that show will ever see the light of day. And so just to give them that opportunity was a really, really special thing. And so I went back to the cast and crew and said, hey, wait, no, what do you think about doing a very small show? Because I was just going to give them, meet together and have a little commiserating party with the food that we had from opening night and, let everybody sort of process it. But they were so excited to have the opportunity to perform, and it ended up being maybe like 25, 30 people all together with the casts from the two other shows and, our staff and things. And it was a really, really magical night that I don't think I will ever forget. And I know that the cast and crew won't ever forget because there was just such a sense of solidarity. And I think we all kind of knew, too, that it was like, well, this is it. This is our last chance before we all kind of go home for however long. So it was a nice moment to get everybody together.
Yeah.
And it was just one of the most thoughtful things that I've ever been a part of.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some of the feedback that was online after that happened, and it seemed like everybody was just so grateful. Everyone involved, and not only the cast who was able to perform, but the cast who was able to sit in the audience. It just seemed like everybody involved was just so together. Everybody was really proving that, hey, we're in this together. We're going to get through it together. We're going to come back out on the other side together. And it was kind of an inspirational message to everybody watching from the outside to show us that, there are ways to get through a crisis like this, and it's even easier when you have more people in your corner. And that's why I want to make a point right now before we close for anybody listening to give them an opportunity to be able to support you all and your organizations through this time, because this is going to be a challenging time for a lot of people in our community, including our nonprofits and our theater community, our artistic organizations. And I want to let everybody know, how can they go online? How can they continue to support you through this time? And what would be best for you all? How can people help you while we go through this crisis together?
Well, I was just going to say that it's so great that we are focusing on the way that we are unified in this and focusing on all of those positive things. But you're absolutely right in the fact that this is a very scary time for, everyone, but also for groups like ours who depend on audience members to, help us with our revenue. So of course, we're all accepting donations individually, and we're also, and I'll let everybody speak to that on their own, but we're also about to have a link where if you don't want to have to choose between any of the organizations, especially when we're doing content together, that we're going to have a campaign where people can make a donation to one place, and we will split it between the three of us as well. So, if you're interested in supporting Reno Little Theater, of course, you can go on our website, which is renolittletheater.org, and follow us on Facebook for, lots of updated content. And then everybody has their own channels as well.
Yes. The same is, of course, true for Good Luck Macbeth. You can visit goodluckmacbeth.org to donate individually to us if you would like. And also we're on Facebook and Instagram and all of those social media outlets. But, this idea of being able to contribute to all three theater companies at the same time, I think, is a really great idea, especially because a lot of our audience communities overlap. And it means you don't have to make the difficult call of who you would like to support right now, but you can support all three if you would like. And of course, because, there is going to be content produced by all three of us together at this moment too.
And then Mary, how
right.
can everyone continue to support Peruca through this time?
It's the same. We have the same platforms of web page and Facebook, and it's so interesting too. And we just are really excited about being able to share the momentum and the idea that people could support all three theater companies. We share so many artists and audiences and friends, and the more we can collectively bring people together and help bring hope and excitement and all those things, I think we're really into it in a really geeky, fun way. And it makes me think about, when they built the bridge and we were all hollowed in behind that bridge, and we were just gasping, thinking, we're not going to make it through this 2-year build. And then Midtown comes along and starts building, and there's all sorts of different things that are making it hard transportation-wise for the theaters, in Midtown. And the businesses, we've seen people succeed and come together and really rally for each other. And this is another call for that in a much larger human way that I think lends itself to the idea that if people want to support the theaters, to do so in a collective way helps a lot. But then if you're trying to decide whether you're going to help another organization in town, it gives you that opportunity as well. So I love you guys. I'm so glad we're doing this, and I appreciate you, Deanna, so much.
Of course. It's my pleasure. I am a huge supporter of the theater community. It's been in my life forever. I wouldn't have decided that a college major in theater was worth it if I didn't love it that much. So I love all of you. I love everything that you do. I love the work that every single one of you produces. And I'm so happy that these organizations exist in this city because it just makes it that much more fun to be a part of. And I know there's a lot of people out there who agree with me. So if you would like to support any of these organizations, please visit renolittletheater.org, goodluckmacbeth.org, or Peruca.org. And like they all said, that you will be able to support all three of these organizations. If you don't want to make the decision on who to make your donation to, there will be information on their social media and their websites on how you can donate and support all three, because we will come back out of this stronger. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it will be much easier with your support. Thank you guys all so much for joining me this morning and getting this information out there.
Thank you, Deanna.
Absolutely. And
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for listening to another fine edition of The Insight Show on this Reno Media Group radio station. I'm Deanna, and we'll see you next week.